Moon Knight is coming to the MCU, and with everyone's favorite sorta-Batman, but not really, entering that shared universe, will inevitably come some changes, methods by which Moon Knight might impact the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So today I'd like to theorize a bit as to what may or may not be introduced to everyone's favorite billion-dollar Juggernaut, which does not include the Juggernaut. I mean, probably not. That'd be pretty cool, though. So first off, gotta point out the obvious, werewolves, baby! Woo! Alright. Moon Knight, of course, started off as a villain in Werewolf by Night. He didn't last long as a baddie. In fact, by the second issue of that appearance, he's teamed up with his foe to take down the men who hired him to bring in the werewolf for 10 grand. 10 whole grand. He fights the semi-heroic, typically tragic Wolfman, civilian name, Jack Russell. I will never get over that. And during the fight, Moon Knight manages to defeat Jack and escape with the help of his pal Frenchie, real name Jean-Paul Duchamp, who better show up in this damn show, Disney. And hell, give him some cybernetic legs. I don't care if this sucker is a limited single season event. I want my French pilot with cybernetic legs. Ain't in there yet? Green screen that sucker. Come on. Oh, and I kind of skimped over this last time I talked about Moon Knight because I suck. You guys know this, the comments know this. The whole Moon Knight being created by the committee was explained by Frenchie to be a ruse in order to get inside the committee, but like, that's just comics being comics, retcons, you know? Point is, Moon Knight the series could very well introduce werewolves into the MCU, not only just by virtue of that being his comic origin either. See, there's actually two big hints that we will have some variation of Jack, I was born to be a wolfman, just look at my name, Russell, in the Disney Plus show. First of all is this shot, wherein Moon Knight is beating the ever-loving Snot out of, well, something. Considering that there are some weird dog soldier ass legs right there, most fans' money is on it being a werewolf, and potentially Jack himself. To bolster this, our second piece of evidence comes from an interview with Silent Bob himself, Kevin Smith, who in a not-so-silent moment mentioned the property in connection to his Howard the Duck series, which was eventually cancelled. The idea of our story was that Howard was trapped here and he was trying to get pages of the Darkhold, which would allow him to go back. As I'm laying it out, and then I go into Jeph and told him what I wanted to do, and that's when they said, you can't use Werewolf by Night, and I asked why. They said the movie division was using him. Now, this is not only interesting in regards to Moon Knight, it's also interesting in regards to the potential for Werewolf by Night, a property that's pretty unlikely to have a film all of its own, right? After all, it's a Wolfman movie. As much as I would eat an entire block of salt to see that get made, it's just not really in keeping with the MCU aesthetic. Unless... You idiot! Oh dang, looks like I'm getting my sodium intake today. So yeah, per some production deets and a scoop in November 2021 from The Wrap, it looks like we are in fact getting a Werewolf by Night Halloween special over on Disney+, with shooting potentially already underway. Which is pretty rad, although the synopsis is pretty clearly in reference to the new Werewolf by Night, Jake Gomez, who will be played by Gael Garcia Bernal, whom you may know from Y Tu Mama Tambien, The Motorcycle Diaries, playing Hector in Coco, and most recently looking a little elderly on a beach for M. Night Shyamalan. One fun note on his character. He uses his sister's music playlists to keep control in his werewolf form, which, you know, not necessarily something that will be included, but it does have plenty of potential for fun, Peacemaker-style needle drops. Of course, it could also be the case that since he's already been cast, Bernal could show up as Jake in Moon Knight and simply replace Jack Russell entirely. Either which way, we don't have much more to go on with this project, so it could be that there's more to it than meets the eye. By which I mean it's a Transformers project. I'm joking. Am I? Yes, maybe. As we are all very well aware, Marvel loves to set up more continuity as it goes. Every movie and show, for the most part, has to have some connection to another movie or show, forever branching off until the heat death of the universe. Currently, we have a few characters who have either already made their debut or are set to do so.
Sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?
And with Moon Knight finally in the spotlight, with Doctor Strange in the old rearview mirror and Blade on the horizon, we could very well be getting set up for Midnight Suns. For those unaware, the Midnight Suns are a team of supernaturally inclined heroes. They're not the first team of macabre heroes. Werewolf by Night not so famously joined Night Shift, best known as being that one group that makes a surprise appearance in a comic that in turn is best known for being the source of the Moon Knight Dracula meme. Crap, what was I even talking about? Oh, right, the Midnight Suns. So the Midnight Suns were one of the less embarrassing products of the 90s, basically making them the polar opposite of My Comedy. First appearing in Ghost Rider number 31, in the final entry of a 6-part story aptly titled Rise of the Midnight Suns, the team, brought together from the background by Dr. Strange, consisted of then Ghost Rider Danny Ketch, former Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze, Morbius the Living Vampire, Blade along with his Night Stalkers, and the Darkhold Redeemers, who will probably not be in the show. Together they had to fight Lilith, Mother of Demons. By the way, there's this great moment in Morbius the Living Vampire's issue of the arc, wherein Ghost Rider is demanding information while wearing a bike helmet, and when asked who exactly he is, he takes off the helmet and he's, well, you know, a big old flaming skull, and it creates so many questions, and I love it. Does the fire just get snuffed out while under the helmet? Does it smell like burning under there? Is the helmet magic? Why isn't there smoke coming out? I don't know, and I don't read enough Ghost Rider to know if this has ever been addressed, but it's just great. Oh, and also, Morbius buys a new costume from what is clearly an S&M shop, and frankly, that is adorable. I love him. Anyway, sorry. I am in full-on tangent mode today. I just got back from Disneyland. I'm just like all over the place. So, after defeating Lilith, the Midnight Suns, whom Strange referred to simply as the Nine, would go on to reform at various points throughout modern comic history as a means of defeating major supernatural threats. Usually Lilith, but basically anything involving the damned, beings from hell, that sort of thing. In addition to the first lineup, their members have included Elsa Bloodstone, Man-Thing, Scarlet Spider, Werewolf by Night, and the sadly short-lived Baron Skullfire, whom I only mention because he's a Ghost Rider who rides a rhinoceros, and that is amazing. Anyway, while I don't expect Doctor Strange to show up as part of TV's Midnight Suns, his colleague and Sorcerer Supreme by technicality Wong was also a leader of the Midnight Suns at one point, so perhaps we could get Wong bringing everyone together, maybe Emil Blonsky as well, sort of a Nick Fury figure, while someone like Blade acts as his Tony Stark. Not a perfect comparison, and, you know, Blade is probably more maybe Blade's the Nick Fury, and it doesn't matter. You get the idea. The components of a reimagined Midnight Suns are all basically here, ready to be utilized against whatever dark forces wiggle their little tushies out of hell.
The box. You opened it. We came.
Or, heck, maybe we'll just get new Avengers, and the lines between TV and film will be further blurred with TV-based characters joining a big screen Avengers initiative. Or, and heck, why not at this point? Perhaps we'll get a new Avengers limited series. We've gotten a ton of variations on the Avengers throughout the years, including Great Lakes Avengers, who will one day hopefully give us the Squirrel Girl that was promised to us all those years ago before being ripped away. Tangent. But the one we're most likely to get out of these new heroes is the new Avengers. The thing about that whole team up is that it is a very well adaptable title. New Avengers has been used by several groups since first forming in 2005, and has remained pretty scattershot, having been made up of major characters like Iron Man, Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Captain America, Bucky Barnes Captain America, Wolverine, Spider-Woman, just lots of heroes that might as well just be on the OG Avengers, and even have been. The original team-up was a group of heroes standing against superhero registration, while one later version was a short-lived team-up formed by AIM, which had basically turned into a goody-two-shoes organization. It's a whole lot of comic book politics that either won't make it into the MCU or will do so in a stripped-down or adapted version. Point is, Moon Knight will no doubt be a step toward one of these teams, and with rumors circulating that Blade will indeed be in Moon Knight Season 1, it would seem that he really is the new Nick Fury-style team-building whatchamadoo. And who knows, maybe the new or dark or all-new, all-hip Avengers will be a separate entity while the Midnight Suns go and do their thing separately. Get Dane Whitman in there, screw it, just give him his fun sword and fun stuff.
Remember when we talked about No More Secrets?
You can never have too many teams in what is quickly becoming the most outlandishly ginormous film universe ever. Seriously, it's just turning into normal comics at this point.
Oh, God. I'm gonna throw up in my mask.
Then there's Khonshu, who is said to be composed of the Pathfinder, Embracer, Defender, and the Watcher of Overnight Travelers, as well as the one who lives on hearts, i.e. Khonshu's vengeful secret aspect. In the comics, Khonshu is the Egyptian god who seemingly brought Mark back to life after being killed by Bushmen, thereby creating both his Moon Knight persona as well as the other identities he's known to take on. In one explanation, Mark's damaged brain is attempting to reconcile those aforementioned aspects of Khonshu. What's more, it turns out that sometimes the being speaking to Mark, whom he believes to be Khonshu, might not even be the ancient Egyptian god, but rather another figment of his imagination. Mark Spector is, for all intents and purposes, super messed up, and tied directly to the more spiritual side of the Marvel Universe, something that has been explored in small instances in Black Panther, Shang-Chi, and more so in Doctor Strange, but has never been super black and white. This could change with Moon Knight, which appears to be taking an even more supernatural approach to the source material. Some of this, like the Sailor Moon style transformation, could just be in Mark's head, but you know, what if it's not? And we're really going to get a superhero sent to us by an actual god. Speaking of Khonshu and the whole gods angle, just who the heck is Ethan Hawke playing here? Yeah, we know the closed captioning said Arthur Harrow, but there's literally no way that's the character he's been cast as. Not the least because both Harrow and the organization he's tied to immediately disappeared after one issue. I mean, like, come on, Marvel, we're dumb, but we're not that dumb. So in a previous video, I suggested that he could be Sun King, but at least one commenter pointed out something I missed in that video: the proliferation of crocodile imagery in the trailer. Now this could suggest that he's actually playing another Egyptian god, Sobek, who also has ties to Black Panther and formed his own little cult in Egypt, where a lot of Moon Knight's action is set. Sobek is often associated with the Nile and crocodiles, and appears in Marvel Comics as an anthropomorphic croc. Vis-a-vis, it would make a heck of a lot of sense to have Sobek be the secret villain Hawke is portraying. Another option, and one that feels super unlikely, but hey, you never know, is that he's playing Khonshu himself, and what we're getting is a different spin on that character to help guide Mark on his way. I don't think that's the case, but if the croc imagery is just to throw us off, or something we're making a bigger deal of than we should, it would be pretty on point to have Ethan Hawke play a giant bird person. I found a way to work it in.
Just for laughs?
This also might be where the MCU starts getting a bit more mature, at least in the main continuity.
Are you telling me this actually worked?
Although we've had the Netflix shows, which haven't shied away from the more adult content, we're still on shaky ground as far as what's considered canon, with Moon Knight being what he is in the comic, and considering his dissociative identity disorder, it would seem that Marvel is letting loose a bit more for this particular character. Or it'll be watered down and awful. Who knows? There's also a small chance that we'll get more memes. Of course, there's this one from Black Panther.
The real question is, what are those?
But what about all those sweet, out of context or recontextualized Moon Knight memes? I'm not saying it's something we need or even want, but with how cheeky the MCU producers can be at times, I wouldn't be surprised if Moon Knight ran around like, I don't know, demanding money from Dracula or whatever. And finally, could this be the series to introduce Mephisto?
Oh no, not again.
Okay, I know, this is stupid. It's so stupid, but I only bring it up because it could be something to further link Moon Knight to the Avengers or some sort of spin-off team, or at least other heroes. See, in Avengers 33 through 37, this is volume 8? Is that the newest volume? Volume 8, right? Yeah. We got the 5-parter, The Age of Khonshu, which, shock of shocks, involves Moon Knight. In that comic, he battles the Avengers and takes from them their powers to be his own, including Thor and Doctor Strange. So dude's pretty solid at this endeavor, thanks in a big way to these magical onks. Long story short, he's doing this all as a means of defeating Mephisto, which he does. Sort of. This could be a great way of turning the tables a bit and even making Moon Knight a villain for a new team of Avengers, whom he could take out in a way similar to Batman in the Tower of Babel story. Or not. These are just a few ways that Moon Knight could make his mark on the MCU, but we won't actually know until the show starts dropping on March 30th. Will any of what I just said make it into the show? Not with my history, but hey, it's fun to speculate. Let's look at more of those comments. Jesus.